Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. Listen to me right now. Every woman walking with God is walking in a power that no man can give her. When you understand that your strength comes not from a boyfriend, not from someone else's validation, but from the one who created you, you become unstoppable. It's that quiet confidence that speaks louder than any words, because it's rooted in something eternal. You see, life will try to shake you, make you doubt yourself, make you think you need someone to complete you. But when you walk with God, you realize something different. You're already whole. The peace that comes from Him fills the cracks that the world tries to exploit. That's real strength. That's the kind of strength that stands firm when the storms come. And I want you to hear this. Walking alone with God doesn't mean you're lonely. It means you've got a partner who never leaves you, never forsakes you, who lifts you up when you stumble. It means you're learning patience, you're learning self-love, you're growing in ways you couldn't if you were distracted by someone else's needs or insecurities. This is a season, a sacred time to prepare, to heal, to focus on your purpose. Because God's purpose for you, it's bigger than any relationship you've had or will have. It's about becoming the woman He designed you to be. Strong, fearless, confident, and whole. So don't rush. Don't settle for less than what you deserve. Don't let the world pressure you to define your worth through a boyfriend. Your worth is defined by the Creator who calls you His masterpiece. Walk tall, walk proud, walk strong. Because a woman who walks with God is never walking alone, and she is stronger than she's ever been. True strength comes from an unshakable relationship with God, not from reliance on another person. This idea runs deep through the fabric of faith and resilience, shaping the way a woman experiences her life and navigates its challenges. When a woman grounds her identity and strength in God, she taps into a source of power that is constant, unwavering, and far beyond what any human relationship can offer. Unlike relationships with people, which can be unpredictable and sometimes fragile, the relationship with God provides a foundation that does not shift with circumstances or emotions. It is a connection that remains steady through storms, disappointments, and triumphs alike. When we rely on another person for our strength or sense of worth, we are essentially placing our stability in something external and often fleeting. People, by their nature, are imperfect. They have their own fears, weaknesses, and limitations. Sometimes they are there for us, and sometimes they are not. This leaves us vulnerable because when we lean too heavily on someone else's approval or presence, we give away our power to their hands. If they falter, if they leave, if they fail us in some way, the foundation beneath us crumbles. But a woman who walks with God learns to stand on something far more solid. She learns that her strength is not dependent on anyone's mood, commitment, or presence, but is rooted in a divine love and purpose that transcends human failings. An unshakable relationship with God means knowing that you are loved unconditionally. It means understanding that your value is not tied to your relationship status or what anyone else thinks of you. This understanding cultivates confidence from within, a confidence that is self-sustaining. It doesn't rely on constant reassurance or validation from others. Instead, it grows from the knowledge that you are seen, known, and cherished by the Creator of the universe. This internal confidence is a powerful armor against insecurity and doubt. It means that when challenges arise, you meet them not from a place of fear, but from a place of faith. This relationship also teaches patience and trust. Life does not always move according to our plans or desires, and neither do relationships. But when a woman relies on God, she learns to trust in timing beyond her own understanding. She understands that sometimes being alone is not a punishment, but a preparation, a time to build strength, to heal wounds, and to grow deeper in her faith. She embraces solitude not as loneliness, but as sacred space for transformation. This patience is a gift that empowers her to walk her path with grace, knowing that God's plan is unfolding, even when it feels hidden. Moreover, when strength is drawn from God, a woman's perspective on challenges changes. Difficulties are no longer mere obstacles, but opportunities for growth. They become moments where faith is tested and proven true. Because God's strength is made perfect in weakness, the woman who leans on Him finds courage she never knew she had. She faces adversity with a boldness that is born from the assurance that she is never alone. This is a strength that carries her through heartbreak, rejection, disappointment, and fear. It does not mean she is unaffected by these things, but that she rises above them through the power of her faith. The difference between relying on a boyfriend or relying on God also lies in the nature of love. Human love can be conditional, sometimes tied to circumstances, moods, or expectations. It can falter or fade. But divine love is constant and unconditional. When a woman anchors her strength in God, she experiences a love that does not waver or demand anything in return. This frees her to love herself fully and to live without fear of losing someone else's affection. She becomes whole in her own right, not because of a relationship, but because of the relationship she nurtures with God. Additionally, this unshakable bond shapes a woman's identity beyond societal pressures. Society often pushes women to define themselves through relationships, through being someone's girlfriend, wife, or partner. But when her strength is rooted in God, she refuses to be confined by these labels. Her worth is not dictated by her relationship status, but by who she is in God's eyes. This perspective shifts the focus from seeking approval outside to embracing purpose and calling inside. She understands that she is here to fulfill a divine purpose, and that purpose is not contingent on a boyfriend, but on her faith and her own unique gifts. This foundation also fosters emotional resilience. When setbacks come, a woman with an unshakable relationship with God processes them through faith. She prays, meditates, and reflects, finding peace even in turmoil. This inner peace guards her heart and mind, allowing her to recover more quickly and maintain hope when others might despair. She is not tossed around by every emotional storm, but anchored in something steady and true. This resilience is not arrogance, but a quiet strength born from humility and trust. Ultimately, strength that comes from God empowers a woman to live authentically. It allows her to embrace her true self without fear of rejection or abandonment. She becomes a light to others, inspiring through her example of faith, courage, and independence. This strength enables her to set healthy boundaries, to say no when necessary, and to pursue her dreams boldly. It is a strength that lifts her above the noise of the world, enabling her to listen to the still, small voice within that guides her steps. In this way, an unshakable relationship with God is the foundation for a life of true power. It is a strength that no boyfriend, no relationship, and no external circumstance can give or take away. It is the strength that remains when all else fades, the strength that fuels hope, courage, and unwavering faith. Walking with God cultivates a deep, abiding inner peace and confidence that no human relationship can ever fully provide. This peace is not superficial or dependent on circumstances. It is a profound calmness rooted in the knowledge of being loved, accepted, and guided by a power far greater than oneself. When a woman walks with God, she steps into a realm where fear, anxiety, and insecurity begin to lose their grip, replaced by a steadfast assurance that she is never truly alone and that her life has a meaningful purpose. Unlike human relationships, which can fluctuate and sometimes leave us feeling vulnerable or uncertain, the relationship with God offers a constant source of comfort and strength, a wellspring of peace that sustains through life's trials and triumphs. The confidence that grows from walking with God is different from the confidence the world talks about. It is not built on achievements, appearances, or external validation. It doesn't rise and fall with other people's opinions or approval. Instead, it is grounded in an unchanging truth that one is created with intention and beloved beyond measure. This kind of confidence shines from within, quietly but powerfully, because it stems from a clear understanding of one's identity in God. When a woman knows who she is in God's eyes, fearfully and wonderfully made, precious and capable, she no longer feels the desperate need to seek affirmation from romantic partners or social circles. This internal security creates a space where she can stand firm, even if she is alone, without feeling less worthy or incomplete. Moreover, walking with God offers a perspective that reframes how one views the complexities of life and relationships. Instead of seeing hardships or solitude as signs of failure or rejection, a woman walking in faith recognizes them as opportunities for growth and refinement. This faith helps her to trust in God's timing and plan, even when it is unclear or challenging. It allows her to embrace seasons of waiting and solitude as times of preparation, times to build character, deepen wisdom, and nurture her spirit. The inner peace cultivated in this walk with God becomes a shelter, a refuge from the chaos and unpredictability of human emotions and circumstances. Human relationships, while beautiful and often deeply fulfilling, come with limitations. People are imperfect. They have their own fears, desires, and struggles that sometimes prevent them from giving unconditional love or consistent support. A romantic partner can be loving one day and distant the next. Expectations and misunderstandings can create conflict, insecurity, and heartache. These ups and downs are natural parts of human connection, but they can leave a woman feeling unstable if she places her sense of peace and confidence solely in another person. By contrast, God's presence is constant and unchanging. When a woman walks with God, she learns to rely on this steadfastness rather than the unpredictable nature of human relationships. The process of walking with God also nurtures self-awareness and emotional maturity. Through prayer, meditation, and reflection, a woman becomes more attuned to her own heart and the voice of God within her. This spiritual practice builds resilience and helps her to manage emotions in healthy ways. Instead of reacting impulsively or being controlled by fears of abandonment or loneliness, she learns to respond with grace and calm. This emotional balance is a key component of inner peace and confidence. It helps her to maintain clarity and focus, to make decisions rooted in wisdom rather than desperation or neediness. Additionally, walking with God encourages a woman to cultivate self-love and acceptance. When her value is affirmed by a divine source, she begins to treat herself with the same kindness and respect that she receives from God. This transformation is vital because it breaks the cycle of seeking love externally to fill internal voids. Instead of chasing after validation through relationships, a woman walking with God embraces herself fully, flaws and all. She understands that she is enough, not because of what she does or who she is with, but because of who she is created to be. This self-acceptance strengthens her confidence and guards her heart from the insecurities that often accompany dependence on others for emotional well-being. Furthermore, the peace gained from walking with God provides a firm foundation for healthy relationships in the future. When a woman is secure in her identity and purpose, she is less likely to enter into relationships out of fear, loneliness, or societal pressure. She can choose partnerships that enhance her life rather than complete it. This discernment is crucial for building relationships based on mutual respect, love, and shared values. Inner peace gives her the courage to set boundaries, to walk away from unhealthy situations, and to demand the love and respect she deserves. It also allows her to offer love more freely and generously, not out of need but out of abundance. In the face of challenges, disappointments, or heartache, the peace that walking with God cultivates acts as a balm. It soothes wounded hearts and renews hope. This peace is not passive resignation, but an active trust in God's goodness and sovereignty. It inspires a woman to keep moving forward, to keep believing in herself, and to keep embracing life with courage and joy. This kind of peace cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks or broken relationships because it is anchored in something eternal. Ultimately, walking with God creates a confidence that empowers a woman to live authentically and boldly. It frees her from the constant need to prove herself or to seek validation through others. She walks in the world with a quiet strength and dignity that commands respect, not because she demands it, but because she knows her worth from the inside out. This confidence radiates, touching everyone around her, inspiring others to find their own peace and courage. It is a confidence born not of circumstance or human approval, but of a deep and abiding relationship with the divine. Independence through faith is a transformative force that empowers women to make decisions without fear or pressure. When a woman's sense of self and direction is rooted in her faith, she is no longer swayed by the external voices that often dictate how she should live, whom she should love, or what she should become. Faith creates a foundation of strength and clarity, allowing her to trust her intuition and convictions because she knows they are anchored in a higher purpose. This independence is not about isolation or stubbornness, but about confidently standing firm in one's beliefs and values, even when the world pressures her to conform or settle. Making decisions without fear begins with understanding that her worth is not dependent on approval from others. Society often bombards women with messages that equate their value with relationships, appearances, or conformity to certain roles. This pressure can lead to anxiety, self-doubt, and a tendency to make choices out of obligation rather than genuine desire or conviction. However, when a woman walks in faith, she learns to see herself through the lens of divine love and purpose. This perspective frees her from the need to seek constant validation, which in turn diminishes the power of fear that others' judgments might hold over her decisions. Faith instills a sense of courage. It encourages women to step into the unknown, to make bold choices even when the path is uncertain. When she trusts that God's guidance is present, even in the darkest moments, fear loses its grip. The pressure to conform to societal expectations or to please others fades because her focus is on aligning with what she believes is her God-given path. This courage does not mean the absence of fear. Rather, it means choosing to act despite fear, supported by the conviction that she is not alone and that her decisions have meaning beyond immediate circumstances. This kind of independence also means resisting the pressure to rush into decisions, especially those influenced by external timelines or comparisons. Many women feel pressured to achieve milestones like relationships, marriage, or career success by certain ages, often because of societal norms or family expectations. Faith teaches patience and trust in divine timing. A woman who is grounded in faith understands that her journey is unique and that rushing to meet someone else's agenda can lead to choices that do not honor her true self. This patience protects her from making impulsive decisions that later lead to regret, and it strengthens her ability to wait for opportunities and relationships that truly align with her values and purpose. Making decisions without pressure also requires boundaries, and faith empowers women to establish and maintain those boundaries. When a woman knows her worth and trusts her path, She is more likely to say no to situations or relationships that do not serve her highest good. This is a form of independence that protects her emotional and spiritual well-being. Faith gives her the strength to resist manipulation, coercion, or guilt that others might try to use to influence her choices. Instead of compromising her values, she learns to honor them, even if that means disappointing people or standing apart from the crowd. Furthermore, independence through faith fosters wisdom and discernment. When faced with important decisions, a woman grounded in faith seeks guidance through prayer, reflection, and spiritual counsel. This process helps her to see beyond immediate desires or fears and consider the long-term impact of her choices. It allows her to weigh options with clarity and to recognize which paths align with her purpose. This wisdom protects her from making decisions based solely on emotional reactions or societal pressure, enabling her to act thoughtfully and with intention. This faith-inspired independence also encourages resilience. Life is full of unexpected challenges and setbacks that can shake confidence and invite second-guessing. However, when a woman's decisions are rooted in faith, she is better equipped to face difficulties with strength and grace. She understands that mistakes are part of growth, and that God's grace covers imperfections. This resilience means she can move forward without being paralyzed by fear of failure or rejection. It also means she can forgive herself when things do not go as planned and continue to pursue her path with renewed determination. Another vital aspect of this independence is self-reliance that comes from spiritual maturity. Walking with faith encourages women to develop a deep relationship with God, which becomes a source of wisdom, comfort, and guidance. This connection allows her to depend less on others for direction or approval. Instead, she learns to listen to the voice within the still, small voice of faith that leads her toward decisions that nurture her soul and align with her values. This inner guidance system builds confidence and reduces reliance on external approval, creating a freedom that is empowering and peaceful. The freedom to make decisions without fear or pressure also transforms how women relate to others. When a woman is independent through faith, she enters relationships from a place of wholeness, not neediness. She does not rely on others to fill voids or validate her worth, which leads to healthier, more balanced connections. This independence allows her to give and receive love freely, without losing herself or compromising her values. It also equips her to walk away from relationships that are not aligned with her faith or well-being, without fear of judgment or loneliness. In addition, this empowered decision-making creates space for personal growth and fulfillment. A woman who is independent through faith pursues her passions, dreams, and goals with clarity and purpose. She makes choices that reflect who she truly is and what she truly desires, rather than what others expect. This leads to a richer, more authentic life where she feels empowered to live boldly and fully. Her faith becomes the anchor that holds her steady, allowing her to embrace opportunities and challenges alike with confidence and grace. Independence through faith also breaks cycles of codependency or unhealthy attachments. When a woman trusts in God's sufficiency, she no longer feels compelled to cling to people or situations out of fear of being alone or unworthy. This freedom enables her to cultivate relationships based on mutual respect and genuine connection rather than fear or insecurity. It also allows her to invest in herself and her spiritual growth, recognizing that her greatest source of strength is the one she carries within. Ultimately, the independence that faith fosters is transformative. It shapes a woman into someone who is fearless, discerning, and deeply rooted in her truth. She learns to make decisions that honor her spirit and reflect her divine purpose, free from the burdens of fear, pressure, and societal expectations. This kind of independence is a gift that empowers women to live their lives with integrity, courage, and profound joy. A woman with God as her anchor carries within her a source of strength and stability that enables her to face life's storms with courage and resilience. When challenges arise, whether they be heartbreak, loss, disappointment, or uncertainty, she does not crumble under the weight of her struggles because her foundation is rooted in something far deeper than circumstance. God becomes the unmovable rock upon which she stands, the steady presence that holds her fast when everything around her seems to be shaking. This anchoring in God is not a passive state. It is an active daily choice to trust in a power that transcends the temporary turmoil of life. It grants her the ability to weather difficulties on her own, emerging from them not broken but stronger, more refined, and full of renewed purpose. Life is full of storms, and no one is immune to the pain and trials that come with it. Many people seek to avoid hardships or lean on others to carry them through. While human support is valuable, it is often imperfect, sometimes unavailable, or even unreliable. A woman who has anchored herself in God learns to stand firm independently. This does not mean she is isolated or refuses help. Rather, it means that when help isn't there, or when she must walk a difficult path alone, she is not undone by fear or despair. Her soul rests in the assurance that God's presence is constant, even when the skies are darkest. This faith becomes her refuge, a place of peace amid chaos, and the source of courage to keep moving forward. When life's storms hit, the temptation to give up or feel defeated is strong. However, the woman anchored in God understands that storms are often part of a greater process of growth and transformation. Just as a tree's roots grow deeper during a storm, she knows that these challenging moments can deepen her faith and strengthen her character. She embraces the storm not as a punishment, but as a refining fire that strips away fear, doubt, and superficial attachments. This perspective empowers her to face hardships head-on, knowing that they do not define her but refine her. The anchor of God also provides stability in moments of emotional upheaval. When pain, grief, or loneliness threaten to overwhelm her, she turns to God for comfort and strength. Through prayer, meditation, and scripture, she finds a source of solace that human words or gestures cannot replicate. This spiritual connection acts like an anchor chain, holding her steady despite the crashing waves of emotion. It helps her to process pain without being consumed by it, to grieve without losing hope, and to remain rooted in peace when her surroundings are turbulent. Furthermore, having God as her anchor gives her clarity amid confusion. Storms often bring uncertainty, questions about the future, doubts about one's worth or path, and fears of the unknown. A woman anchored in God trusts that she is not walking blindly. She believes that even in the midst of chaos, there is a divine plan unfolding. This trust allows her to hold on to hope and make decisions with wisdom and faith rather than panic or despair. It enables her to see beyond the immediate crisis to a horizon of healing and new beginnings. Emerging stronger from life's storms requires more than just endurance. It requires transformation. The woman anchored in God does not simply survive, she thrives. She learns lessons from her struggles that shape her into a wiser, more compassionate, and more courageous person. She develops resilience that can only come from having faced adversity with faith. This resilience is visible to those around her, inspiring others to find their own strength in difficult times. Her story becomes a testament to the power of faith and the unyielding strength that comes from being rooted in God. This kind of strength also frees her from the need for constant reassurance or dependency on others. Because her anchor is God, She does not fear being alone or unsupported. She understands that true security comes from within, from a relationship that is eternal and unshakable. This independence does not isolate her, but empowers her to engage with the world authentically and confidently. She can stand alone if necessary, but she also values healthy, loving relationships that complement her strength rather than define it. When storms pass, the woman anchored in God emerges with a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. The trials she has endured do not diminish her. They enlarge her capacity for empathy, faith, and love. She carries scars not as marks of defeat, but as symbols of victory, proof that she has endured and grown through what she faced. This transformation allows her to approach life with greater wisdom and compassion, ready to face whatever comes next with a steady heart. In every challenge, the woman anchored in God is reminded of her identity and worth. She is not defined by what she has lost or the hardships she has faced, but by who she is in the eyes of God, beloved, chosen, and resilient. This identity is a source of unbreakable strength that no external circumstance can shake. It calls her to rise, to persevere, and to live fully, no matter what storms may come. Her faith also cultivates a deep sense of peace that surpasses understanding. This peace does not depend on the absence of problems, but on the presence of God. It calms her heart, steadies her mind, and nurtures hope. In this peace, she finds the courage to face each new day with grace and confidence. It is the peace that whispers through the wind and the rain, reminding her that she is anchored, secure, and strong. Through every storm, the anchor of God holds firm, guiding her safely through to calmer seas. It is this divine strength that enables her to walk alone, not in weakness or despair, but in boldness and faith. Her journey is a powerful testimony to the enduring power of being anchored in God, a power that transforms trials into triumphs and storms into stepping stones for greater strength. Spiritual growth is a profound journey that reshapes a woman's understanding of herself and her place in the world, teaching her patience, self-love, and self-worth that transcends societal expectations. In a culture often obsessed with quick results, external validation, and rigid standards, spiritual growth offers a deeply transformative alternative. It invites her to slow down, look inward, and cultivate a relationship with her true self and with the divine. Through this process, she learns that her value is not tied to meeting external benchmarks, but is rooted in something far more enduring and meaningful. Patience is one of the first and most essential lessons spiritual growth imparts. In a fast-paced world where instant gratification is expected, patience can feel like a rare and difficult virtue. Yet, spiritual maturity teaches a woman that growth, healing, and transformation take time. It is through patience that she learns to trust the process of life, even when progress is slow or the future uncertain. This patience is not passive waiting, but an active stance of faith, believing that every season has its purpose and that her development unfolds according to a divine timetable. She learns to embrace the waiting periods as times of preparation, reflection, and strengthening, rather than seeing them as setbacks or failures. This perspective gives her peace amid uncertainty and resilience when faced with delays or disappointments. Through spiritual growth, a woman also discovers the deep well of self-love that comes from understanding her intrinsic worth. Unlike self-love based on achievement, appearance, or approval from others, spiritual self-love is unconditional. It flows from recognizing that she is created with intention and loved unconditionally by a higher power. This revelation changes the way she treats herself. She becomes gentler and more compassionate, learning to forgive her mistakes and to honor her needs and boundaries. She no longer measures her worth by external accomplishments or the opinions of others. Instead, she embraces herself fully, with all her imperfections and unique gifts. This kind of self-love is liberating. It frees her from the exhausting cycle of trying to prove herself or conform to unrealistic ideals. It also empowers her to nurture her well-being and pursue her passions without fear of judgment or inadequacy. Self-worth beyond societal expectations is another critical insight that spiritual growth offers. Society often imposes narrow definitions of success, beauty, and worth, especially on women. These standards can be limiting and damaging, creating pressure to fit into prescribed roles or achieve superficial goals. Through spiritual growth, a woman learns to see beyond these constraints. She begins to understand that her value is not determined by her marital status, career achievements, physical appearance, or social standing. Instead, her worth is inherent and unchanging, grounded in her identity as a beloved creation. This realization shifts her focus from trying to meet external expectations to living authentically according to her values and purpose. It gives her the courage to reject societal pressures that do not serve her and to embrace a path that aligns with her true self. Spiritual growth also fosters a deeper awareness of the interconnectedness of all life. This awareness nurtures empathy and compassion, not only for others, but for herself. She learns to treat herself with the same kindness she offers to others, understanding that self-judgment and harsh criticism only hinder growth and healing. This compassionate self-view allows her to navigate challenges with grace, knowing that setbacks are part of the human experience and not reflections of her inadequacy. It helps her to cultivate a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity, where she celebrates progress rather than perfection. The journey of spiritual growth encourages a woman to cultivate practices that support her inner development, such as prayer, meditation, journaling, or quiet reflection. These practices create space for her to connect with her inner voice and with the divine, deepening her understanding of who she is beyond societal labels. Through this connection, she gains clarity about her purpose and direction, which strengthens her confidence and decision-making. This inner guidance becomes a reliable compass, helping her to navigate life's complexities with wisdom and peace. Importantly, spiritual growth redefines success and fulfillment. It teaches that true happiness and contentment come not from external achievements or material possessions, but from living in alignment with one's values and purpose. A woman on this path learns to find joy in simple moments, gratitude in everyday blessings, and peace in trusting the unfolding of her life. This shift from external validation to internal fulfillment creates a foundation of stability and resilience that no external circumstance can shake. As she grows spiritually, a woman also becomes more attuned to her unique gifts and strengths. She recognizes that she has something valuable to offer the world, not by trying to fit in or imitate others, but by embracing her individuality. This awareness encourages her to step into her calling with courage and authenticity, knowing that her contribution matters regardless of how it compares to societal definitions of success. This empowerment is liberating and inspiring, motivating her to pursue goals that resonate with her heart and to build relationships that honor her true self. Spiritual growth also cultivates humility and surrender, teaching a woman to release control over outcomes and trust in a higher wisdom. This surrender does not mean passivity, but rather a confident trust that even when life does not go as planned, there is a greater purpose at work. This trust alleviates anxiety and fosters peace, allowing her to face uncertainty with calm and grace. It also opens her to receive guidance and support in unexpected ways, reinforcing her resilience and adaptability. Through this journey, a woman comes to embody a profound sense of freedom. She is freed from the chains of comparison, fear, and people-pleasing. She lives with integrity, making choices that reflect her values and honor her spirit. This freedom fuels her joy and creativity, inviting her to explore new possibilities and embrace life fully. It also invites others to witness the beauty of a life lived authentically and courageously. Ultimately, spiritual growth transforms how a woman sees herself and the world around her. It equips her with the patience to endure, the self, love to nurture, and the self, worth to stand tall beyond the noise of societal expectations. This transformation is not always easy or quick, but it is deeply rewarding. It leads to a life marked by peace, purpose, and authentic joy, a life where she is empowered to be her truest self. God's purpose for a woman is vast, profound, and far-reaching, extending well beyond the confines of temporary relationships and the limiting labels society often places on her. In a world where women are frequently defined by their relationship, status, appearance, or social roles, understanding that God's purpose transcends these external factors is both liberating and empowering. It invites a woman to see herself through a divine lens, recognizing that her true identity and calling are anchored in something eternal and meaningful rather than fleeting or superficial. Temporary relationships, while they may hold significance and offer valuable experiences, do not define a woman's worth or ultimate purpose. Society often pressures women to find fulfillment through romantic partnerships, suggesting that happiness and completion depend on being attached to someone else. This can create a sense of urgency or inadequacy when a woman is single or when relationships end. However, God's purpose for her is not contingent upon another person. Her value and mission exist independently of who she is dating, married to, or partnered with. This truth frees her from the anxiety of needing to conform to societal timelines or expectations related to love and companionship. Instead, she is invited to focus on the unique calling that God has placed on her life, which is enduring and sovereign. God's purpose is deeply personal and tailored to each woman's gifts, passions, and experiences. It involves living out a divine plan that often intersects with service, leadership, creativity, compassion, and growth. A woman's calling may manifest in many forms: raising a family, leading a community, pursuing a career, mentoring others, or simply living with integrity and love. These purposes do not rely on societal validation or fitting into traditional roles. They come from a place of divine intention. When a woman embraces this perspective, she gains a sense of direction and confidence that is not shaken by external judgments or temporary circumstances. Labels assigned by society can be restrictive and misleading. Words like single, married, childless, career woman, or homemaker are often used to categorize women in ways that oversimplify their complexity and diminish their individuality. These labels can carry implicit expectations and judgments that limit a woman's freedom to define herself. God's purpose transcends these labels because it recognizes the fullness of a woman's identity beyond social constructs. It honors her as a whole person with a multifaceted role in the world. This divine perspective encourages her to see beyond stereotypes and embrace her unique story, gifts, and journey without shame or limitation. When a woman understands that her purpose is greater than societal labels, she can live with greater authenticity and courage. She is less likely to seek approval or validation from external sources, and more likely to follow the prompting of her heart and spirit. This freedom enables her to pursue her dreams and passions wholeheartedly, even if they do not fit conventional molds. It allows her to break free from the pressure to conform and to create a life that reflects her true self and divine calling. God's purpose also provides a deep sense of meaning and fulfillment that transcends the highs and lows of temporary relationships. Romantic relationships can bring joy, companionship, and growth, but they can also involve pain, disappointment, and impermanence. Anchoring her purpose in God helps a woman to navigate these realities with resilience and grace. She is reminded that her ultimate significance is not tied to the success or failure of any particular relationship, but to the eternal plan God has for her life. This grounding fosters peace and hope, even in times of loneliness or loss, because she knows that her worth and mission are secure. This understanding shifts a woman's focus from seeking validation through others to cultivating a deep personal relationship with God. It invites her to prioritize spiritual growth and self-discovery, recognizing that her connection with the divine is the source of true identity and strength. Through this relationship, she gains clarity about her purpose and direction, enabling her to make choices that align with her highest good and divine design. This spiritual foundation becomes a compass that guides her through life's complexities and uncertainties. Moreover, God's purpose for a woman often includes becoming a source of inspiration and support for others. As she embraces her divine calling, she naturally impacts those around her family, friends, community, and even strangers. Her life becomes a testimony of faith, resilience, and love that encourages others to seek their own purpose beyond societal expectations. This ripple effect amplifies her impact, making her purpose not only personal but also communal and far-reaching. The freedom from temporary labels and relationships also empowers a woman to cultivate a strong sense of self-worth. When her value is rooted in God's purpose, rather than external factors, she is less vulnerable to the insecurities and comparisons that so often plague women. She learns to affirm herself based on divine truth rather than fleeting opinions. This self-worth is stabilizing and nurturing, enabling her to stand confidently in her identity regardless of external circumstances or societal pressures. Living with the awareness of God's transcendent purpose also encourages a woman to embrace the journey of life with openness and trust. She understands that not every moment will be easy or clear, but she can rely on divine guidance and grace throughout. This trust allows her to face uncertainties and challenges with hope and perseverance. It also inspires her to be patient with herself and her path, knowing that fulfillment comes in alignment with God's timing and plan. Ultimately, the recognition that God's purpose for a woman surpasses temporary relationships and societal labels invites her into a life of profound freedom, meaning, and joy. It challenges her to redefine success, fulfillment, and identity in ways that honor her spirit and divine calling. This realization transforms how she sees herself and the world, opening doors to possibilities that honor her unique gifts and purpose. It is a call to live boldly and authentically, confident that her life is part of a greater story that no external circumstance can diminish. Being alone with God creates a sacred space where true healing, clarity, and preparation for the right future can unfold naturally and deeply. In the silence of solitude, away from the distractions and demands of the world, a woman is invited into a profound encounter with the divine presence. This intentional time alone is not about loneliness or isolation, but about connection with the source of all wisdom, love, and restoration. It is in this space that the heart finds room to mend, the mind gains insight, and the spirit is readied for what lies ahead. Healing begins when a woman allows herself to be fully present in this quiet space with God. Life's wounds, whether emotional, spiritual, or relational, often require more than surface-level fixes or distractions to heal. Being alone with God creates the conditions for true healing because it removes external noise and provides an environment where deep truths can be faced honestly and gently. Here, pain is not ignored or suppressed but brought into the light, where it can be acknowledged, understood, and transformed. The divine presence offers comfort and acceptance that no human can replicate, assuring her that she is seen, loved, and worthy even in brokenness. This acceptance becomes a balm for the soul, encouraging forgiveness, release, and restoration. In this sacred solitude, clarity begins to emerge, Life's complexities, uncertainties, and questions often cloud a woman's mind, making it difficult to discern the right path forward. When she steps away from the busyness of life and turns inward with God, the fog lifts. The stillness and focus allow her to hear her own heart and spirit more clearly, as well as the gentle guidance of divine wisdom. In this clarity, confusion and fear lose their grip. She gains a renewed perspective on her circumstances and a deeper understanding of her purpose and calling. This clarity is not always immediate or loud, but often comes as a quiet whisper or a subtle insight that gradually shapes her vision for the future. Preparation for the right future is another vital fruit of spending time alone with God. Life's transitions and new beginnings require more than just hope or wishful thinking. They demand readiness on every level, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and sometimes even physically. By dedicating time in solitude with God, a woman can cultivate the qualities and skills needed for the next chapter of her life. This preparation involves not only healing past wounds and gaining clarity, but also developing patience, strength, and trust. She learns to surrender control and to wait for the right timing, rather than rushing into decisions out of fear or desperation. This posture of readiness equips her to embrace future opportunities with confidence and grace. Being alone with God also cultivates a deep sense of peace that undergirds healing, clarity, and preparation. This peace is not dependent on external circumstances, but flows from a trust in the divine plan and presence. When a woman rests in this peace, she is less shaken by life's uncertainties and challenges. Her heart is steadied, and her mind is calmed. This inner calm allows her to navigate difficulties without being overwhelmed or losing hope. It also creates space for creativity, inspiration, and resilience, qualities that are essential for growth and transformation. Moreover, solitude with God fosters self-awareness and spiritual growth. When a woman is alone with God, she has the opportunity to reflect deeply on her thoughts, feelings, and patterns. This self-awareness reveals areas where healing is needed and highlights strengths and gifts she may have overlooked. It becomes a time of spiritual renewal where she can deepen her faith, reaffirm her values, and align her life more closely with divine purpose. This growth enriches her character and prepares her to engage with the world from a place of authenticity and strength. The practice of being alone with God also teaches valuable lessons in patience and trust. Healing, clarity, and preparation are often processes that cannot be rushed. A woman learns to be patient with herself and with God's timing, recognizing that growth unfolds in seasons. This trust alleviates anxiety and cultivates hope, allowing her to rest in the assurance that what is meant for her will come at the right time and in the right way. This posture of faith empowers her to move forward with courage, even when the path ahead is not fully visible. Additionally, solitude with God encourages a deeper sense of identity and purpose beyond external validation or temporary circumstances. When alone with the divine, a woman is reminded of her inherent worth and unique calling. She sees herself not through the lens of societal expectations or fleeting relationships, but as a beloved child of God with a purpose that transcends the immediate. This realization strengthens her resolve and inspires her to live intentionally, focusing on what truly matters. Being alone with God also invites renewal and restoration on every level. The sacred time away from distractions is a chance to replenish energy, release burdens, and renew hope. This renewal is essential for sustaining the strength and resilience needed to face life's challenges and pursue dreams with passion. It allows her to step back into the world refreshed, grounded, and ready to embrace her future. In the quiet space of solitude, a woman discovers that being alone does not mean being abandoned or incomplete. Instead, it is an opportunity to build a foundation of faith and self-reliance that supports her through all seasons of life. This foundation is unshakable because it is built on the presence of God, who never leaves or forsakes her. It is here that she learns the profound truth that her completeness and fulfillment come from within, nurtured by her relationship with the divine. Ultimately, being alone with God is a powerful and transformative experience that creates the space necessary for true healing, clear vision, and purposeful preparation. It is a sacred journey inward and upward, where a woman is restored, guided, and equipped for the right future. This time of solitude becomes a cornerstone of strength and hope, enabling her to walk forward with confidence, peace, and a heart ready to embrace all that lies ahead. In the sacred stillness of walking alone with God, a woman discovers the extraordinary depth of her strength, identity, and purpose. She learns that her worth is not defined by a relationship status or societal expectation, but by the divine purpose placed within her. Through solitude, she is healed from past wounds, gains clarity for the path ahead, and is prepared with grace and resilience for the future God has designed for her. In His presence, she finds peace that the world cannot offer, wisdom that no voice can replace, and love that needs no validation. She becomes a woman rooted, unshakable, and radiant, not because of who stands beside her, but because of who walks within her. And that kind of woman doesn't just survive, she rises.